Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it, and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing a lovely Patek Philippe 5136 1G-001, a perpetual calendar 37mm in white gold, originally launched back in 2003. The box and papers for this specific unit indicate it was sold the following year in 2004, and it is a lovely, traditionally sized and proportioned men's Patek Philippe complication. A dress watch through and through. The timepiece wears easily on my 16cm circumference wrist, and you'll note that it is slim in profile with a micro rotor automatic, only 10.2mm thick despite being an automatic perpetual calendar. A couple of ways to measure this watch. From lug to lug, just the case, it measures 44.5mm. If you include the end links of the bracelet, which do expand it a bit across the wrist, it's still a very manageable 46.5mm, and I can recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 13cm circumference. The spacing between the lugs is a highly agreeable 19mm, which is proportionally correct for the size of the case. Now the timepiece, we'll zoom in a little bit. You can see it on my 16cm circumference wrist from directly overhead one more time. It's more substantial than a traditional Patek Philippe complication, which more often than not would be sold on a strap. So the full white gold bracelet is something special. Regrettably, my nails aren't what they were before I manicured them for the sake of this video. Fortunately, I have a lot of experience doing this. You can also appreciate the fact that the white gold on this older Patek Philippe watch is distinctly a different tone than the later gray gold that would be used after 2006. So if the white gold appears a little bit darker, it's not your monitor and it's not my camera. It does have a bit more of a yellow tinge. You'll also appreciate the fact that Patek is smart about how it builds its bracelets, and you can see that there's actually a pusher adjuster built into the bracelet. On both sides, you have the ability to use the case flank pusher adjusters straight through the bracelet without removal. And the bracelet itself is a lovely piece. You can see many small links and plenty of gaps between. So if you like to wear your watches in hot weather, if you're in Miami, if you're in Southern California, if you're on the French Riviera or perhaps the Italian Riviera, you'll find that this is actually a much better match for that kind of use than any strap would ever be. You'll also appreciate the fact that back in 2004, Patek Philippe was fitting its bracelets with screws, so you can easily size this one at home. Unlike later Patek Philippe bracelets after 2012, which used pins and sleeves, you don't need a punch and a block to size this bracelet. The clasp is a double deployant, also in white gold. I find double deployants work a little bit better on small wrists. They don't have the one big up and over fold that can pinch a small wrist. There's a clamshell lock with the Calatrava cross on the top. Rotate back to the case. It's simple but strong. Mirror polished and fluid. There's nary a straight line anywhere, perhaps the only one being the junction between the inner lug and the end link of the bracelet. It is a fluid form, lithe, sensuous, and sinuous, and you can see on the crown side the Calatrava cross on top of the Patek Philippe crown with a little bit of a recess into the case band, and a lovely domed bezel that plays up the size of the watch, making it appear a little bit larger and more voluminous on the wrist. The dial is relatively simple. It's an off-white matte. Some might call it opaline silver, which would be Patek Philippe's own nomenclature. It does have a bit of an off-white, almost eggshell tone when you see it in person. The sub-registers are sunken to add another focal plane to the dial. The hands, which are Dauphine at center, as well as the indices and the sub-register hands, are all white gold to avoid oxidation over time, and you can see this was the very tail end of Patek Philippe's use of the Sigma dials. Starting in the 1970s, these are also known as the a priori marks. They were created by a Swiss gold trade group that wanted to announce when there was gold on a dial. And when you see the Sigma marks or the a priori marks, you know that the indices in the hands are of gold. If you see Sigma M, it generally means that the dial itself is solid gold. This one's not solid gold, but it does have the gold garnishings. Appreciate that there are several mono counters to keep the dial balanced, and it has a wonderful bilateral symmetry, but you have the 24-hour cycle, so you know when not to use those calendar adjusters, but it also gives you AM, PM for the time at center, plus the day of the week at 9 o'clock. You have the leap year phase, plus the month at 3, and then you have a moon phase that need be adjusted only once every 122 years, coaxial with the date indicator at 6 o'clock. This is a perpetual calendar. It need be adjusted, strictly speaking, only once in the year 2100. Until then, it can deal with leap years, it can deal with irregular length months. Let's get a little bit closer and take a look at the Patek Philippe Caliber 240Q. Now there's a lot going on here. Automatic via micro rotor, it's as thin as a manual wind watch would be, because you can see the winding system in the rotor in the same plane as the rest of the bridges and the rest of the mechanisms in the train. So automatic winding, 38 to 48 hour power reserve. The balance beat sway at 21,600 vibrations per hour. This is old school. You can see the Geneva hallmark just under my finger. This was before the Patek Philippe seal, adjusted in 5 positions like a chronometer. It features Patek's long-running patented Gyromax free-sprung balance architecture that allows the watch to better take and hold the 5-position adjustment and even retain it in the face of bumps, disruptions, and concussion on the wrist. Now the timepiece is 30 meters water resistant. I encourage you to not test that theory, and everything is immaculately finished. This is a lovely 27 jewel movement that I find warrants the purchase of a loop. If you're in the market for a watch like this, buy an Excellent Magnifier so you can appreciate the mirrored anglage on the edge of every bridge. You can see it lighten up underneath my finger. You can also see it in the jewel and screw countersinks. There's an engine-turned perlage across the base plate, Côte de Genève across the bridges, black polished screws with chamfered slots. It's the best of all possible worlds. See it and make it yours on the Watchbox.